Hey everybody, welcome to live streaming with Jesse. Today we're going to continue on with what we've been doing the last two streams, and that's working on this homepage. Yesterday we got some cards put in like a masonry layout, but we were having some trouble getting some of the cards to take up the full width of the columns that we wanted them to be in. So I actually found a fix for that was really simple, and I don't know why I didn't think of it yesterday, or maybe one of you thought of it and were trying to tell me in the chat and I just was not getting it. But I'm going to show you what that fix is, and then we're going to get started and finish this page. And it was so simple. I'm almost embarrassed now how simple it was. But let me get started. Oh, there's a lot in the live chat already. Okay, there were some questions about whether or not beginners can watch this stream. I would say beginners will probably get something out of this stream. They may not understand everything. Some streams are more beginner friendly than others. This stream maybe is like middle of the road. The whole point of me doing these videos, when I first thought up the idea of doing these, was just to see what it's like for me to do my job as a front-end developer, and especially to help those people who are beginners, or maybe people who are freelance and always work alone. I know I still don't know what it's like for developers, who like work on a team at a big company, what their day in, day out job is like. So I thought it'd be cool for people to see that, but not just see me, but specifically see me mess up and how I work through that. And I thought maybe it would give beginners more confidence that, seeing somebody who's getting paid to do this mess up so much. Maybe they would think, hey, like, I'm way better than this guy. I definitely can get a job. So anyway, because of that, I think beginners could get something from any of these shows. But if you're looking for a tutorial, this is not the right stream. There are a lot of other great tutorials on the freeCodeCamp channel and on other channels on YouTube. But sometimes it's somewhat like a tutorial, but there's no way I could in good conscience call this a tutorial. We mess up way too much, and it's not really that structured. So anyway, if you are a beginner and you're watching, feel free to stick around. I'd love to have you here, and feel free to ask questions. I don't answer questions right away. I split it up into Pomodoro sessions, so 25-minute periods of coding, and then I do 5 minutes of question and answer. And then at the very end, if there's any questions left over, I get to all those questions. So just be patient if you ask a question. Occasionally someone will ask a question and they'll keep asking it over and over and wondering if I'm going to answer their question. Well, I don't even see it because I'm doing the coding. So just be patient. I'll get to it. Let's see. Michael Creel says, it's usually a tutorial for you, Jesse. That's it. That's right. These videos are a tutorial for me because you all help me out so much. I learn. Harshit said truth. Yeah. Harshit has contributed significantly to my learning and to my project. So, yeah. Glad you're here today, Harshit. I missed you yesterday. I was trying to do it a little bit earlier so you wouldn't have to stay up so late. Okay. Alright, one more thing before we start. I made a video and I posted it on my YouTube channel. So there's a link to that, I think, in the description to this video. So this is the freeCodeCamp channel. I do most of my live streams here. But if I come out with videos on other topics or a tutorial, I put that on my own personal channel, so check that out if you want. The video is on getting motivated after the holidays. So it's just, I think I mentioned this yesterday to you all, but just a really short, it's like 3 minutes of how I got through my sluggishness after the holidays and getting back into it. So maybe it'll help somebody else out if you're trying to get back into coding after taking a little break. Okay. Let's see. Someone asked about languages, frameworks. We're using mostly JavaScript and React. Michael said, "There's no bird in the background here." I actually went and consulted. I did some consulting work, and so I just came in from outside, and there's snow everywhere. So the snow is melting on the bottom of my shoes, and my shoes are squeaking on the floor as I kind of shifted around in my chair. So I apologize for the weird sound. That's just the squeaking of my shoes. All right. So let's... Oh, let me show you all the screen. There we go. Okay. So here's what we've got so far. So not a whole lot. Also, I forgot to push the changes to the GitHub repo from yesterday, so I apologize to anyone who tried to check out the code. It wasn't up to date. I pushed them this morning, so it is up to date now. So you can see we have these 3 cards here were really thin. Now they're taking up the full width like they should. We still need to get this gutter sorted out, and we'll do that probably the first thing we work on. But I want to show you how I did this. So all I added to each one of these grid items here, not to the container grid, which I think we removed anyway, but to these grid items that we were putting that we wanted to take up a certain amount of space, so full width, quarter width, things like that. We added this grid item fix class, and I'll show you what it was. Really easy. Grid item fix gives it a width of 100%. That's it. So I don't know if you all remember from yesterday, when we checked in DevTools on the classes that were being applied to that div, it was applying a max width based on what it was supposed to be. So if we wanted it to be fourth of the screen, it was saying max width 25%, but it had no width property. So all I did was say, okay, well, let's put width 100%. It'll still be limited by that max width property, right? And it worked. So it's a simple fix. Now, it's not universal, right? So if we wanted to use this grid system on other pages, we would have to make sure we keep carrying that over. So depending on what we want to do with it, we may want to come up with a different way to implement this, kind of like globally. But for right now, this works fine for what we're going to be doing today. So ended up being just very simple. And yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you got to sleep on it, and it worked out. Okay, let's see. Let me start this Pomodoro timer, and let's get this gutter worked out to about the width that we want it. So I do want to work within Material UI. Here's the docs. So if you want to follow along with the documentation, it's material-ui-next.com. And actually, I'm just going to paste this in right now so y'all can just go right to it. And you know what? Let me... Sorry. Let me run ngrok as well. I forgot to do that yesterday, and I think I have it up here. I do. Nope. And I think we're running this on port 3000. Yep, we are. Alright, so I'm going to have a link for you all to view this on your machine as well. Oh, the link wasn't working, huh? That's crazy. It's the same link. Okay, I don't know why the link isn't working, but that's exactly that's really weird. Alright, so maybe it is working for some people. I mean, if you go to the main site and navigate to there, hopefully it would. Now it works? Okay. Alright, seems like it's working now. Maybe it's YouTube redirect. Oops. Okay. Alright, so here's what I want to check out. See if there is some sort of gutter kind of built into the API. Maybe space between item component, resource type container components. Okay, this you can only use this on the container component, and we got rid of our container component. So that may not work. Alright, maybe we'll... Alright, so I don't think we can put the container grid back. No, oh no, that's not the right one. Yeah, we did get rid of it down here. I don't think we're going to be able to put the container back without messing things up. So let's try this. See if it works. Let's just throw margin on this element. We'll just give it, let's go 16 pixels for now. So just 16 pixels all around. And let's see if this actually works. I'm skeptical that this will work well with what we have going on. Huh. Wow, not bad. Okay, but one thing it did do is it messed up our column. See, so it moved this over. So if we change it to padding, maybe we'll have better results. There we go. Okay, so actually this is a really good kind of beginner's lesson with CSS. So the reason why it didn't work with margin but it does work with padding is because actually let me open up DevTools. It'll be easier to explain this with this here. Okay, so you can see this displays an element, and I'm actually gonna get a card here. So it's displaying. Okay, so this is actually what we just did. We just added a padding of 16 onto this. So what it does here, when it calculates the width of this item, any padding is actually counted as the item width. So when we're saying elsewhere that we only want this container to take up 50% of this space, it's going to include the padding in there. When we put it as margin, it doesn't include margin in the width as the width of the container. So it was saying, okay, we're going to have this take up just this component alone, plus whatever padding we had, which happened to be nothing, but we're going to take all this and make this the full 50% width. But then when you add the margin in, it ends up being a little bit more, so maybe 52% width, right? So then if we added up all the three elements, which should be 25, 25, and 50%, we ended up, instead of getting 100%, which we should have, we would end up getting something like, I don't know, 110%. That's why this other one got pushed down to here, because we'd gone over the percentage, right? So really, there's it's not always obvious on when's the right time to use margin and when's the right time to use padding. But in this case, it's clear padding is giving us what we want here, and margin did not. There's probably some other cases we could think of where you want to use one over the other for sure. And there's some cases where you could use one or the other and it won't really make a difference. Johnny says, is that still the case in border box? That's a good point. Let's mess around a little bit with that, just since we started. Let's switch this and use, okay, so it's already using border box. Let's have it use content box. Is this going to, and we'll use content box, and then we'll switch the margin, we'll switch this to a margin. Okay, so now this is using margin, and they're also using content box. So let's move this back to border box and see what happens. Alright, so we're getting this, and I'm just confirming that we're actually getting the behavior we didn't want. Let's see if it changes with content box. Okay, it isn't changing with content box. And let's see what happens if we keep content box with our padding. And let's switch it up. Okay, alright, that's where the difference is. Alright, so just to verify before I explain this, because I don't want to explain the wrong thing, I'm going to switch this back to border. And there we go. Okay, so let's see. Let me go back to here so we could see. So here's what happens when we use border box, which border box is usually the default, correct? I'm almost positive that normally most sites I work on is border box. So border box works normally, as I explained before. When you switch to content box, then what happens is the actual width of the content is taken as the width, right? Padding then acts like margin did in our first example. So now the padding is actually in addition. So the full 50% in the case of this card here, the full 50% is taken up just by this part, this content. And then in addition to that, there's padding, and that is going to add 52% or something, right? It's going to be 52%, somewhere around there. So if you're still having trouble with something like this, make sure you check your box sizing as well. I tend to stick with border box for pretty much everything. I rarely even think about this. It's not an issue normally, but thanks for bringing that up, Johnny. That definitely could have been confusing if someone was working with something that was set to content box instead of border box. Alright, so let me know if you all appreciate some of that little kind of sidebar there to explain things. I'll try to do that more if you think it's helpful. If you'd rather me just get to the point and start coding, that's cool too. Wow, my network's... I apologize if the video quality was bad. I just glanced at my network and it was terrible. It seems like it's back now at normal. So let's see. I just want to make sure I did answer that question adequately. Okay, Johnny says, thank you for explaining that. It's just like YouTube origin. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's move on then. Well, let's make sure this width is actually what we want. I think that width's okay. Oh, and we need to make sure we have our items take up the proper space on smaller screens. Oh, that's interesting. It shifts over this way. I would think that it would go this way from left to right. It's good to know for our layout, though. All right. Actually, Harsh is saying, use Materialize. You're using many selectors on those divs than necessary. Okay, so Harshit thinks we should just use the Materialized column classes. Okay, so Harshit prefers using the Materialized Grid. Maybe we'll switch to that. I'm not going to switch to it on the stream right now because it's mostly just copy and paste work. But that might not be a bad idea to switch to. We already talked about yesterday of why we might switch to that. So I'm still open to that. There was just a part of me that really wanted to see if I could get this to work. And we have a solution. So we'll see if the solution continues to work or if we run into too many bugs. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we do have extra small and small 3. Actually, we already have the right columns on here so that it should be full width. Let's see what's going on there. So we may have found our first bug. Oh, there we go. No, it is working. It was just set to extra small. So I think yeah, let's set this a bit differently. Yeah, so let's see for small screens. Right now we have small everything. Okay, for all our smalls where we have it set to 3, we're going to change things up a bit. And we're going to go, let's try 6 for small, and then medium. I assume medium is MD. We'll find out in a second if that works. For our mediums, then we'll go with our 3, with our quarter. So that should be a nicer transition on small screens. And okay, I'm interested to see how this works. Okay, so here's our large screen. It's like normal. Let's see where our breakpoint is. Okay, so around 930 pixels, somewhere around there. 950. We have our small breakpoint, and that's when it goes down to 2. And then we go down to 1. Okay, so it looks like it's still, these are still too thin even on our medium size. So I think we're gonna have to have to bump that up another screen size, another screen width. So let's take our mediums. We'll take our mediums and change them to large, and I think that'll work. Okay. So now we should get, there we go. We get the split a lot earlier. We get it up there around 1200 pixels. And that's nicer. Now we don't have content extending out over that card. So these are still, a bit narrow here once you get down to 1200 pixels. But, we'll see what happens with the content. When we get real content in there, then I think we can do more adjustments. For now, that's the only adjustment I really want to do. No sense in really, getting too detailed with this when we're still just kind of experimenting. Okay. Is everybody cool? Was that somewhat straightforward? Let me know in the live chat. I'll check back in a minute and see if anyone needs me to explain that a bit more. Let's see. Alright, cool. So let's add a few more cards in. I definitely want to add in a card for video. And yeah, I'm not sure if I want to keep this card's alright with the image and then like text potentially down here, but it might not be a bad idea to just have one, just with an image in it. Maybe we could try one out with an image and a text overlay. That might not be a bad idea. Okay. Alright, let's try that out. Alright, so let's grab, down here we're only using up, on the large screen we're only using up 25% or 50% because we didn't put another card down here. So let's grab another card. Actually, let's grab this. Nah, that's too much. I don't want to get all that. Let's grab this card here, and I'm going to put another one right in here on top of this. Okay, and let's make this, let's take away this large here. So this is going to end up being 50% of the screen for most screen sizes. And for the card content, this is what I want to do. I don't think I saw anything specifically for video. Let me see where we have our image. So we have card media, image, title. Let's check out the API for the card media and see if we can add a video. If not, then we'll just do our thing. The only thing I was worried about is there's padding built in here to this card content. I think there's padding built into card content, so we would want our video to go completely like end to end. Let's see. Where's my... Okay, there it is. So let's check out our cards API and card props. Wow. That's seriously it? That's all we have. We could also just use paper to make kind of our own video component if we want to. I was just kind of hoping that they already had something built into the cards. But it won't be too much extra work if they don't. Okay, so here's our media. Okay, so it's just showing an image. Target media API. Yes. Okay, so it looks like we can do something with video. Image display. That's the background. Right? Alright, so Alright, it's not as straightforward as I thought. Let me check the live chat and see if anybody is reading this kind of differently than me. It seems like from this part, it says that a video would be possible to put in here, but I don't know. It's not 100% clear to me. Let's see. Set the component. Okay, Harshit says if you set the component as video and the source to video, but this will give you the HTML5 player. Okay, we'll probably want to end up using the YouTube player, so maybe it'll be better if. Okay, Harshit says you can add the iframe. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll try it out with a YouTube embed. Okay, cool. So let me grab the YouTube embed code. I have the video that I just did up here. So let's grab the code on my other screen. Let's grab the code from here. And so we don't want the share, we want the embed. Title, purchase videos. Okay. Alright, so let's see how we're going to do this. Harshit said, shameless plug, LOL. Yeah. Yes, it's... By the way, check out my video. Alright, which one did we just copy? I should have copied the one that had card media. What was I thinking? Alright. Card media. And then, what are we going to do? What was that? Source. Let's see. So do we put? Sorry, keep flying back and forth here. Media components. Video. Do I need to put source iframe here, or what? I generally like the documentation they have for this, but this is a little vague for me. Maybe I'm just not getting it. Maybe it's more obvious to you all. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. What else do we need to put? Component for rendering image, either string to use a DOM element or a component. Okay, let's do... string to use without element or component. Okay, so I guess within component, that's where I would put this. Is it gonna let me just in source prop? Let's see. Oh, okay. So Harshit's saying in the source put the URL and in the component put the iframe. All right, thank you, Harshit. So let me just paste this in here quickly so I can grab the source. And now we'll say iframe. Okay. Let's see what we get. Oh, not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So we need we need to add in something, right? Yeah, I think it says the props will useful to extend the style applied to components. Okay. All right, let's see how this. Oops. How this would look. Alright, there's something. It's going off the page because I just changed it in DevTools and I didn't give, see what, if I adjust it, see now the masonry has a chance to lay it out properly, but yeah. Cool, and it'll play right in there. Alright, not bad. It still has some weird stuff going on around the edges. Some space down here that we don't want. So it needs some work, but it's not, it's mostly what we want. Okay. Alright, let's see. My timer went off. Let's do a short break here and let me go to the live chat. Let's see. Okay, Georgi, Giorgi. So correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But Georgie asks, have a question, float versus inline block. Using floats is not too old. Comparing to inline block, same can be achieved with inline block as using floats, but less code, no need of clear fixes. Thanks. Yeah, so I guess there are a lot of different ways to position things in CSS. So yeah, some things are considered older to use than others. I'm of the opinion generally that if it works, right? It's fine to use. The issue gets in some cases, what about performance? You know, does it cut down on your speed? Most sites don't need to worry about it that much, you know, but some sites, even shaving milliseconds is important, right? So you generally do want to know about what the best ways are to use. And some of the newer ways to do things, instead of using floats or Inline-Block, is to use Flexbox, or now the new CSS Grid. And so it's good to know Flexbox and Grid. For instance, if you're going to do anything with React Native, all the positioning is through Flexbox, right? So it would be a good idea to just start learning that and start positioning with that. But if you're not good with that kind of stuff yet, and you got to do something, then the older ways will work. It's okay, but as kind of people start using Flexbox and Grid more and more, it's going to be harder to understand what's going on in other projects if you're still kind of using the older stuff. Off the top of my head, I don't really know what the difference is in terms of speed, right? But that would be what I would look at if I was really trying to decide, okay, which one's best, which one do I need to use. If it was going to be a big deal, I would check that out. Also, you had mentioned you could use less code with one or the other. No need for clear fixes. That is another thing to take into consideration. How difficult is it to implement one versus the other? Can you save lines of code? Anyway, hopefully that kind of answered your question a bit. But I mean, if you're using something that is considered somewhat old and you hear that, don't feel too bad about it, right? I mean, to build stuff, we're all doing things the best way we know how. The idea is that we keep learning things, but you can't learn all the new stuff all at once, right? You just keep adding on. Every project, you try to learn something different and use newer stuff, right? So you may only learn one new thing on the next project, but eventually, you'll keep up and you'll keep learning new things. Let's see. Vinayak asks, how did you fix image width in Masonry? I just added. I'll show you right now. I just added to our grid items. I just added a width of 100%, and then I added some padding on top of that. That was all it took. It ended up being so simple. Let's see. Harshit says, I consider this doing work to achieve nothing. You are a programmer. Use the shortest and bug-free way possible. I'm telling you this with my previous experience in the Bulletin project. Okay, so you're talking, Harshit, you're talking about using the grid system that comes with Masonry, or I'm sorry, Material UI, versus just using the column classes from Materialized. That's a good point. I do remember that it ended up being a real pain to try to get that to work with that Bulletin project. So we may end up switching to that then. So I'm going to have to take a look. I'll take a look at the Bulletin project too, see how it was done there. I am way more comfortable with the Materialized column classes, really. So it will be easier for me in the long run to just use Materialized. But anyway, like I said, I'm not going to switch it right now on the stream. I think we are still doing some valuable stuff because we've explained, like, we got to explain all about padding and margins and stuff, right? And to be honest with you, the purpose of what we're doing right now, and Harshit, I explained this yesterday, so you might not have caught it already. I'm just trying to give my boss something to look at. So it's intended that everything is going to be refactored significantly once we decide on something. So everything we're doing right now may end up getting scrapped, and we don't use any of it. Okay, so at this point, that's why it may not actually be worth it for me to switch to Materialized column classes right now, because we may not even use this at all. Hopefully, I can show this to my boss soon, get some feedback, and then we'll know. At that point, that's probably the better time to make the decision. But at least we have and I know you already know because you tried them both, but now, we have kind of on the stream a nice comparison of, you can go back and watch the old stream, see how we did it with the column classes for Materialized, and now we can see how we do it with the grid. I don't know. You know how I am. I always like to try 2 different ways and see which one works out. Can't always do that. Sometimes there's just not enough time, but in this case, I think it's worthwhile. The process of going through it, I think, is worthwhile. It may take a little longer, but you usually learn a lot in the process. So let me... My 5-minute timer did go off. So I spent a lot of time on just a few questions. Sorry. I still have a cough from when I was sick over the break. Let's see. So I'm trying to figure out where I just left off in the live chat so I can go right back to it after the next break. $128. Okay. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go off topic for just a second. I have this bag of sour neon gummy worms, sitting right next to me. I just want to eat them so bad, but I don't want to be rude and be, chewing right when I'm trying to do this video. So, it's taking a lot of willpower for me. I'm just going to throw them in a drawer. I can't look at them anymore. They had them on sale when I went to the store earlier this week, and I wanted them. And now they're I'm addicted to these gummy worms. I'm sure my dentist loves that. Okay. Alright, so let's do one more Pomodoro session. We'll do at least one more. And so what were we gonna do? I'm gonna leave this like this for now. Like I said, since I'm just gonna show my boss how this looks, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm okay with this looking a little off. I would never want to actually launch a site with it looking like that, but I think it's fine, just to give them an idea. But it's actually, this is really throwing me off that things are getting put in place like this. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Maybe it's an option within Masonry as to whether things get displayed right to left or left to right. I'll have to look into that. I'm okay with it now, but eventually I'm thinking my boss will probably want to be able to have more control over where things are. So I'll look into the options. I know you can do, there's a lot of options if you use just the straight up JavaScript plugin. I'm assuming that at least some of those options can be used with the React component version of Masonry. So we'll look into that later if we end up going with this. Alright, what did I say I needed? Oh, let's do a card that has just an image and we get rid of this. Yeah, let's actually just get rid of this right now. This typography. Where are we at? Austria. Yeah, card actions, typography. We'll get rid of that. I just want to give kind of an assortment of potential options for my boss to look at. Okay, cool. So this is just a straight image card. Let's see. I'm going to copy this and just put a different title in here and different names, just maybe like latest post, like latest blog post or something, and then we'll do another one maybe that'll say like actually let's do a card that's like a spotlight, right? A spotlight on a faculty member or on a student or maybe on a graduate already. We'll throw some of those in there as well. So I think for our purposes now, we may just be able to modify what we're doing here for a lot of that. All right, but first let's get this grid. This component is starting to get huge, and it's just like it just doesn't feel right. But it's gonna have to be like this for now. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna add this one, and let's change events to latest posts. I think that's, yeah, that'll be what we need. Time classes. There you go. Oops, didn't mean to find. I meant to use multiple cursors. Post. Oh, that did not work. Event. There we go. Alright, let's check it out. It should work. We've just done it, but just to verify. Okay, cool. Latest post. Post 1, 2, 3, 4. We may want to show this with some more text. So let's throw that in. One thing that we are having that I wanted to avoid is we still are having some space, which I guess we can't avoid that if we're going to have so many different widths and heights. There's going to be some space. So yeah, there's not really a way to avoid all the space. So we're going to have to live with that, or yeah, I mean, I just don't see how I could get around that without really being strict about card heights. Oh well, it's fine for now. And it really is going to depend on the screen as well. So here it's changed. Obviously on a smaller screen we're going to have, right, we have none here, and for sure we're going to have none when it's all stacked like this. Okay, let's see if I can add some more text on here. Let's see if this will work for us. We have, what is this? So list item text, primary. So since there's already a primary, let's just try secondary and see if that works. If this doesn't work, I'll look it up in the documentation. Yay, it works. Why? There we go. Okay, so cool. We have some secondary text. Awesome. Cool, that's good. I know my boss will want to see that because he definitely won't want just titles of stuff. So that's good. This font size is way too small. So we'll probably have to work on the font size at some point, but for now this is okay. let's see. This post. Okay, let's work on a card that's just going to have, let's say, like an image and someone's name, maybe their title, and then some info about them. I just saw Coding and Caffeine said, "Hello everyone, I'm here for the coffee." I didn't have any coffee today. I did have some G Fuel. I chugged some right before the stream. So G Fuel, if you're watching, give me a sponsorship. Anyway, but also, whoever, Kroger made those gummy worms and sold them, so I could get a sponsorship from Kroger if anybody's got connections, right? My views and opinions are my own, and they do not reflect those of freeCodeCamp. Alright, so the first thing I want to try to do is just grab this grid component. And let's copy it and then remove some of these lists. Let's remove all but one of these list items. Okay. I don't think this is going to work because it'll be too small. Yeah, it's too small. But let's see if we can change some of the options here. So where are we at? Demos. Where's our list? Okay. Is this what we had? Let's check out the API for list item. And let's check it out for list item avatar as well. And let's see. Oh, this is interesting. List item. We have a list item text as well. Okay, so we may have some other options for how to create this. Alright, so let's see what we have for the avatar. I guess not much. Okay, that doesn't look like anything that helpful for what I wanted to do, which I guess I haven't explained. I just want this to be bigger. So let's I am gonna leave this and let's make this bigger. Let's just check out in DevTools first just to see what we may want in terms of size. Yeah, so I was assuming that this was set to 100%, which it is for the image. So what we need to do then is change our width and height for this avatar div. So let's go with 100 and see what that gives us. Okay. I will want it to be bigger for the feature. So let's try 200. And 200. Okay, that's not bad just for this. And then we'll also want to increase this font size. Alright, we'll just set that for that right now. Okay. So where's our item here? So list item avatar. We're going to make a class for this because we're going to have more than one of these. So I'll give it a class name of avatar big. That's pretty straightforward. And then this list item text, we're going to give that a class name as well. Classes, let's talk about, let's say, list item text big. Okay. One of the hardest parts about doing this live is just coming up with names. I mean, it's hard enough coming up with names for your stuff, but like when you're right on the spot, it is hard. Who's that? Hey, Brian Sosmer's in here. Brian works in the office right next to me. He's a developer too. You want one of these gummy worms, Brian? Come in and get one. If you want one and you want to be on the show, just knock on the door. I'll open it. Okay. Let me see how much time I have. I do want to... Okay, cool. I have enough time to get this done. Alright, so let's go back up here to where we're adding in our CSS. So I think we went over this yesterday, but if you weren't with us yesterday, notice this isn't normal CSS. This is actually a JavaScript object. So some of it looks familiar, some of it doesn't. We are camel casing all of our class names, and we're using, normally with CSS, we type it like this, and then we'd have our semicolons, but we're using commas now, like a JavaScript object. Okay, so this is one of the ways we can do it within a React component. We'll use some different ways as the stream continues, and in previous streams we've used some different ways, but this is what we're using right now. So what did I say? Avatar big, and we wanted to make the width, what do we say, 200? Oops, 200 pixels. And the height going to be 200 pixels. Oops, typed 100, 200 pixels. And now let's do the list item text big. And we're going to say font size. We go 34. Yeah, 34 pixels. Oh man, there we go. Okay, let's see if this works. it should only apply to that last one. Yep. All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. So let's say you know what? I'm gonna put this one in because this is probably not gonna make it on the actual site. So I'm just gonna put this one in for fun. And let me grab a picture. Alright, let's see if this works. And primary text. Thomas Crow. Yes. All right, cool. This is my boss. Michael just said, this won't make it on this final site, so I'll do it for fun. Equals famous last words. One time I made a whole site, and everything was really sarcastic. Like, the images were all funny, and the captions on all the images were all sarcastic, and all the text was. And some of it actually, I had to change it so it wasn't so sarcastic, but some of it did make it on the final site. But it was just really fun to show everybody who was testing the site. Maybe this will be an Easter egg on the site somewhere. I gotta put some sort of Easter egg in it. Like, if you open DevTools, like, there'll be something in the console, and something that most people won't see. Okay, let's see how I am on time. But anyway, I was thinking that this list wouldn't work, but it really wasn't hard to adjust. So this is not bad. So we would have featured. We're not gonna have a featured staff member. All the staff members are like in the background, right? The student and the faculty are the stars of the show. But we would probably have a faculty member that we would feature, and a student, and probably a graduate as well. And those would probably change so that there would either be arrows so that you could flip through them, or every time you loaded the page, it would change. Or we'd have it something set up so that maybe like every day it changed. Sorry. Somehow we'd be able to show more of them. Michael said he does have a good beard game. Yeah, his beard's actually shorter than normal in this picture. I think this is an older picture. I tried to find a better one, but this is like the only one that came up on a Google search. There's a lot of people named Thomas Crow, so I didn't realize. But I mean, I scrolled down for like 3 seconds and I didn't see any other pictures. So anyway. All right. So let's see. Let's add in Latest post. Latest post. Let's add in one more of this style, and we'll call it news. And let's add in 2 or 3 more of these style things, and then we'll see how it plays out. Maybe we'll put in like another video one, another image one, another one of these. To be honest with you, that's really kind of boring. Let's see how I am on time, because we're not doing anything new. We're just gonna lay out some things. So I guess I could just copy and paste a few just so we can get an idea. I don't know that it's worth it to do it all on the stream though. And we're gonna grab the image one, and I want another list. Let's grab another list. See, this will be so nice when these are all separated out into their own components. It'll make it so much shorter. This is starting to get a little out of hand. Another list, and let's grab the video and the image one. See, I can't even find what I want anymore. Alright, here's the video one. And just throw one of these in here. And just one more. I'll find an image and I'll throw it in there. There we go. But you can see, hopefully, like even if you're not that familiar with React, you can start to see already which pieces of this page would be good to separate out into their own components and make them more reusable. Like imagine if we could condense all this down into just one line that's easily readable, you know, and it would say image card or something like that. And we just be able to pass in a few props, a few things that we would want it to have, and it would shorten this up significantly. Okay. All right, so I'm going to save that, and let's just, whoa, what did I do? Grid, unexpected token. Oops, looks like I grabbed the end of a masonry tag. Did I? Wait a second. Grid masonry. Yeah, I added the masonry tag in the wrong place. There we go. And I'm assuming then I have another tag in the wrong place somewhere as well. Is that where it needs to go? Oops. Alright, so let's see where the other error is. The div. Seek token. Oh, hey, cool. Did it work? Yay, it worked. Oh, we forgot to actually add a height in for this. Not perfect, but we can see what I need to make sure of is maybe giving more thought to like what we have lined up next to each other. So, you know, making sure that we always are equaling 100% with all them. You know, each section we equal 100% so that we don't have, you know, a lot of gaps here. But otherwise, this should give my boss, I know this does, to me this looks terrible right now, alright, but this should just give my boss something to look at so that in his mind he can say, oh, cool, like we could definitely use that or put that there, you know. It really helps. I mean, you all probably had the same experience, but sometimes it really helps to be able to see something with some content in there to really convey like what you're thinking. You know, I could sketch something on a piece of paper or just explain something, but it doesn't click with other people. You know, they just don't get it until they can see it like this. So that's why I do things like this. And I think it's really helpful at first. Just spend a little bit of time, build this out. Even if we know that most of it might not make it into the final site, you end up saving a lot of time in the long run. If you don't do something like this, either building it out as a site or using, I don't know, like Sketch or Photoshop or something, then you could end up doing a lot of work and then finding out way too late that the client or your boss or whoever wants it different, right? So better to waste a little bit of work at the beginning than to have to redo everything at the end. All right, so my timer did go off. So I'm going to go back and try to answer as much as I can. And let's see what time it is. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to answer all the questions. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And let's... Where did I leave off? 128. Okay. Let me scroll up. Okay, Harshit says, will you be making a pull request using Materialize? Oh, Harshit says, will be making a pull request using Materialize if I get time. I'm busy right now. It is. All right, cool. Harshit, totally understand if you're busy. You've been a great help, and I really appreciate all the work you do. So do not feel obligated at all to do anything. If you have time and you want to do it, that's awesome. You know, otherwise, I could try to do it at some point, or someone else could take a shot at it. If anybody wants to, check out what Harshit did with Masonry and Materialize in the Bulletin project, and then try to apply that to this project. But anyway, you know I always appreciate your work on this, but if you're busy, you know, get done what you need to get done for school or for, you know, whatever else you're working on. Let's see. Okay. Okay, John Hansen says, iframe is a bit tricky, I found in React, as it's difficult for me to figure out if mounted or any onload listener, as it would make sense to have in network, offline, or error image placeholder. Okay, yeah, actually, I haven't worked that much with iframes in React either. I guess we will now. We'll work more with them, and I actually need to change. I don't know who remembers working on Project 1, that Catechetical Institute site, but on the home page there's this really large video, and we were using JW Player to embed that, but it's not working after I upgraded all the packages. So recently we tried to upgrade everything to the latest version, and everything worked out fine, seemingly, except the video. So I had no luck working on it for way longer than I should have, and I think we're just going to switch it up and use YouTube, which is what I wanted to do originally months ago. But anyway, we're going to use YouTube now, I think, and so I'll be dealing with YouTube embeds and React on that project as well. Josh Modian says hello. Hey Josh, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. World said, in your motivation video, you start with, it's a little after New Year. It's July. I know I started with that. Yeah. If you haven't seen the video about getting motivated, it's on my channel. Check it out if you like. It's only like 3 minutes. But I did mess up. Right off the beginning, I said that it was July. It's obviously not July. I recorded the video yesterday. It's January. I corrected myself right after. Yeah, I can't believe I said July. Okay. Oh, Michael says, by the way, Jesse, thanks for the words yesterday when I was at the hospital. Oh, yeah, no problem. I hope everything's all right, too. So I understand if you don't want to talk about it on the live stream or anything like that, but I just want to let you know that I hope everything's cool, and whatever's going on is getting handled properly with the doctors and everything. Harshit was getting a ton of questions about his sleeping routine. So these, for his time zone, these streams are on very late. So he's clarified for everyone. For the record, he sleeps about 6 hours, so from 2 to 8. So it's 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 1 to 2:30 during the day. So it's an adequate amount of sleep. Yeah, that's like, what is that, 7.5 hours? Yeah, almost 8 hours. I went through periods when I was a teenager where I would not sleep very much at all, and just stay up and hang out with my friends, which is way less productive than coding, which Harshit is actually doing some cool stuff with coding. Yeah, so I understand. Then I went through periods where I slept all the time. Let's see. Michael says, that iframe above your head is kind of freaky. Are you talking about this iframe? Or is this a joke about the video? I don't know. Harshit says, Jesse, this will all be fixed if you materialize, as it uses Flexbox with well-defined widths. Okay. Vinayak says, fixing image width was such a problem yesterday. Yeah, I know. It was such a problem, and it was so easy to fix. Okay. John Hansen says, LOL neon worms, just don't eat too many. Though you'll find you won't need to turn the light on in the bathroom when you need to go. Yeah, the neon, the gummy worm things here definitely are probably not that healthy. Let's see. If I eat 9 of these worms, it's 140 calories and 24 grams of sugar, but it has 2 grams of protein, so that's definitely going to help me in the gym, right? So if I ate this whole bag, that would be 10 grams of protein. I mean, you can't beat that, right? I should definitely eat one of these before I work out every day. I'm not a doctor or nutritionist, so don't take any of my advice. Okay. You can set direction. Sparwheel says, what is the average time you have to complete a website for a client? I don't know. It really varies a lot. The last time I did a website for a client, it was like a year or something crazy. It was, because usually what happened, this is what happens with a client normally. At first, they want a website like as soon as possible, right? They're like, could you just stay up for 3 days straight and give me this website? But then what happens, you say, okay, fine, I can do the website, I can do it by this day, but I need this content. And then when it's on them to produce content and give to you, then it keeps pushing back the date, right? So it always just takes a long time, it seems like, when I get clients because of that. So I made sure I put in my contract that all the dates that I have where I'm going to complete things by a certain date are all dependent on when I get the material. So if they're late by a day, my deadline gets pushed back a day, right? So on one of my previous projects, things got pushed back. Like, I think the site was going to be completed in like 2 months and ended up taking almost a year because I didn't have the materials. And during that period, that was when my wife had a baby and had a ton of problems and had to have surgeries and things. So the client also like basically let me put the project on hold during that time period so I can take care of her and the kids, which was really awesome and very nice of them. But then also a lot of the time was because we were still waiting on content and things. So I don't even know that I could give an average at this point. It's just totally, it just really, really depends on whether or not the material is ready for the client. I mean, in terms of what I could do in that day, I mean, it would have to be a large site for me not to be able to do it in, like 2 months, assuming I could really dedicate hours every day to it. I mean, I'm talking like normal stuff you need for small businesses and stuff, right? It should never take longer than that for me to do it. If they wanted something, like I said, really special, maybe longer. I don't know. I don't know if I prefer a longer or shorter time. If it's shorter, then it's kind of cool because you get to work on new things, but then you have to worry about billing and contracts more often. But if you get like a big client where you're working on it for months, you only have to deal with the contract stuff once. And the billing, well, maybe once. I would usually make them pay some up front and maybe some like in the middle of the project too. But and then you have guaranteed income. Anyway, that was a really long answer for a simple question, and I didn't answer the question, so I'm sorry about that. But maybe it gave a little insight into what things are like, at least for me when I do freelance work. Okay, what you said, the water reflects items. Okay, John Hansen's saying that you can change the direction. So where I was saying I wanted it to go left to right instead of right to left. So we definitely can change that. So I'll be working on that maybe today or I was gonna say tomorrow, but tomorrow's Saturday, so I won't work on it on Saturday. Michael Creel says, am I the only one who's seeing the iframe clipped vertically? Yeah, that it is clipped. Okay, Harsh said he had to go at some point, but then he came back. All right, cool. Couldn't you set a grid, the fill in the cards? Yeah, maybe there's something that I could do. Remember, I didn't want a bunch of white space in the cards, though. I'll just have to see like what would look better, to have some white space in the card or to have this gap here. It may honestly look better to have white space in a card. I mean, I think we've done everything we can to eliminate most of that, but even so, when we have gaps like this, I can't just fill that in with this card. The image would be all distorted. So I'll have to think more about that. Alexi asks, are you using Material UI? Yes, I am using Material UI. I've added in a JavaScript plugin called Masonry, and I've used the React Masonry component package to bring that in. So that's what's kind of doing all this layout with these cards, but it is using Material UI as well on the site. T-Zach says, is it a good idea to restart from challenge 1 if it's been a while since I've coded? Yeah, it's not bad. If it's been a long time and you really don't remember a lot, then you could start with challenge 1 again. You'd probably like go really fast through some of them. I would check that if you find yourself going to challenge 1 and like remembering everything, then maybe skip ahead. So start with 1, see how it goes. If you don't remember a lot of it, then just keep going. If you do remember a lot, then skip ahead. That's what I usually do if I like quit a tutorial in the middle and then don't come back to it for a while. I usually start over. T-Zach says, does anyone have a few pages of code for a website, homepage, or something similar I could look at for reference? T-Zach, check out my GitHub profile and also the FUS Marcom organization on GitHub. We do have some, we have a lot of different websites. So you could check out the homepage or the index. Either the index.js or the index.html page is the homepage almost always. So you could check that code out. And most of those projects are live as well, so you could see the site and you could see the code behind it. Alexander says, I like to know what the images from Austria are about. The hills look alive. Okay, cool. Yeah, the images from Austria, let's zoom in on this. So, I wish I had a higher res version right now, but I guess this will work. The images from Austria are of our campus in Austria. So, we have 2 campuses for this university, one here in the United States, in Steubenville, Ohio, and this is the main campus. It's where the school was founded. Then we also have a campus in Austria, and students can go over for either a semester or a year, I can't remember which, and live and study in Austria. And the program's set up in such a way that basically every weekend you have enough time to go and travel to different places in Europe. So it's in a small town called Gaming in Austria, and it's in an old monastery. I think they call it the Kartauza. And okay, so it is a semester. My wife's in the live chat and she corrected me and said it is a semester. So hey, Beck. Yeah, so I've never been over there. I really wanted to go over there, but there's really no need for a web developer to go to the Austria campus, so I don't think they'll send me over there anytime soon. But the students get to see a lot of awesome things over in Europe, so it's a good time. And our professors go over there. So the professors that teach here on this campus will take some time, go over there and teach, and then come back. So, and you can see the scenery's beautiful, right? I mean, I don't know. It looks cool. I've never been over to Europe. I've never even been out of my own country, so that just kind of fascinates me. But that's kind of a cool program. A lot of students are interested in it. So we kind of like to feature pictures of this because it's just so beautiful over there. And it's kind of a big selling point for students who want to come to school here, because not only will they come to school here and get an education, but they also get a chance to go over to Europe and travel at the same time. So prospective students really like that. Oh, okay. So Alexander is actually from Austria. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't been over there, but from what I've seen of what the students do over there, it's a very beautiful country. So I'd love to visit sometime. All right. Let's see. Harshad says, any good admin dashboard themes that can pair up well with Material UI and Next, similar to admin LTE? I really thought that I saw something, but this was probably like a year or so ago. So I don't remember what it was. But I'm pretty sure there are some material design style admin dashboard themes out there. So I'm really sorry. Like I have no idea where I saw it. But I'm pretty sure they exist. Michael Creel says real worms have more protein, but I wouldn't eat them either. Yeah. I don't know if I should say this on YouTube for everybody, but I did actually eat a real worm once. It was, I think I was maybe an early teenager, so maybe like 13 or something, and one of my older cousins told me to do it, kind of like dared me to do it, and I did it. So it wasn't that tasty though, so I haven't done it since. The neon gummy worms are way better. Harshit said, should I do freeCodeCamp? I literally never opened the site. Harshit, I mean, I think it's cool to do the exercises. Sometimes I just do a freeCodeCamp like algorithm challenge in the morning just to get my brain working. But I kind of think you're probably advanced enough that you could just fly through the back end section of it. I know you're a back end person. There may be some stuff in the front end that may be helpful to you since you don't have as much experience with front end. But the first part of it is pretty, I mean, it's for absolute beginners. So I think the first part of it would be really, really easy for you. But there definitely is some cool stuff in there. So you may want to check it out and maybe just skip ahead to some of the harder stuff. Let's see. Oh, T-Zac asked what my GitHub account name was. Let me see. GitHub. You'd think I would know already what my own GitHub thing was. I'll paste the link in though. Okay, it's Jesse R. Weigel. I kind of thought it was that. Okay, so there's mine, and then the other one that has, I think, everything that we work on this channel is this one. There we go. Michael Chris says, your wife is keeping track of you on here? My wife is actually learning to code. So she's doing freeCodeCamp and Flatiron School. And she's involved with Moms Can Code. So she's learning all kind of coding stuff. So that's probably why she's watching me. And sometimes she has the kids watch me. And they like yell at me thinking that I could hear them on YouTube. So anyway, it's cool that she watches. She's probably starting to get good enough that she can understand what we're doing. She's actually ahead of me. She has more points than me on freeCodeCamp now. Let's see. Okay, John had some more advice about how to handle the rows here. Okay, so it said that I might have to put an item flex column and a flex row inside a flex row flex container. All right, if I have to add all that in, then I may definitely switch over to Materialized if that'll fix the problem. Because that will be a lot to add into the markup. Alright, Harshad says, most of the free templates out there are Bootstrap and jQuery heavy. Yeah, for sure. Harshad was asking earlier about an admin panel kind of template or theme that would match up with Material UI. Yeah, that's true. You definitely don't want to go with one of those if you're doing React. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be something out there with React that's going to be at least some sort of boilerplate to help you get started. I wish I knew something offhand I could tell you about, but if I come across something soon, maybe I'll mention it in an upcoming live chat then. Michael Creel says there's no way that's you in that picture. Tzak said the links didn't work that I just pasted in. You know, for some reason the links aren't working right when I first paste them in. You could probably just copy and paste in their browser and it might work like that. But it's something about the YouTube redirect that is messing these up when I paste them in the live chat. So anyway, so those URLs will work, but the link itself may not work if you click on it in the live chat. What was so Michael saying there's no way that's me in the picture? This is me. Yeah, that's me. So my man Brian Sizemore took that picture of me right outside my building. Obviously it was not recently because there's no snow everywhere. But that was like 2.5 years ago. That's me. Alright. John Hansen said, not a lot of markup once you build smaller components out of this large component. Yeah, you're right. If I just put it in separate components, it won't look that big. You just spread it out. It'll look smaller, right? It's... Alright, I'll have to think about it. Okay. Alright, cool. I've gotten to the end of the live chat. So, I think I'm going to wrap things up now and eat some more gummy worms. I'm going to check the kitchen and see if there's coffee. Coffee and gummy worms. That's a good combo, right? Harshit says, why do that extra work? I know, Harshit, I'm probably going to end up going with Materialized, so I don't want you to worry about it. You've made a very good case for using Materialized, and I kind of wanted to do it anyway. But like I said, a part of me really wanted to just see, like, how hard would it be to make this work? So we figured it out. We've got it working to a point. So maybe we'll switch over. You already did the work to figure out how that would work in React. So really I just need to copy what you had done in the Bulletin project. But so that's likely going to happen. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and for all the help in the live chat, and had a lot of good questions and a lot of good answers from you all as well. And if you haven't already, check out my channel and watch the video that I posted. And I don't have ads or anything. I don't get any money for that, but it may help some of you out if you ever need help with getting some motivation. Oh, okay. Rook said, remember to do a Git push. All right. Tzak says, I can't log into GitHub because I have a new phone number and they're sending verification numbers to my old phone. Can you help me? You may want to contact GitHub support. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can change that without being able to log in. Yeah, so I'll contact the support. I mean, you should be able to see my repos without having to log in. That's not a problem. But if you actually want to start, like, forking them to your own account, you will need to be able to log in. But yeah, your fastest way or your surest way to fix that, resolve that, is I think just contacting GitHub support. All right. All right, let me Git push right now so I don't forget like I normally do. Git status, and what we're going to say, commit and add gutter to gutter masonry there. I'm just going to leave it at that. I know we added a bunch more cards, but we really didn't do that much that was new. We just kind of duplicated what was already there. The only kind of new thing we did was add that gutter. We did fix the image thing, but I'll leave it off for now. No, HTML-C must be escaped. What am I not escaping? There we go. It was that I knew that was hiding in there somewhere, and then I forgot about it. All right. That was that little end of that masonry component that got left in there. All right. Looks good. Going through our tests. Nice. Okay. There we go. All the latest is now on GitHub. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go for real this time. Thanks again for watching, and have a great weekend. I will be back on Monday. All right, so see y'all then.